What's going on, y'all? This is John Alsace with the Face Mask Podcast, and today I wanted to get into, it's not a backfield breakdown, it's more an analysis of a situation that is currently unfolding in the NFL with the Buffalo Bills, and specifically their wide receiver Cole Beasley, and some comments that he made about COVID-19. Now, I wouldn't normally bring this up, but I do think that this story in particular does have some fantasy ramifications for 2020 and beyond. Cole Beasley, who finished as the wide receiver 31 last year as Josh Allen's favorite dump-off target, where he finished with 82 receptions for 967 yards and 4 touchdowns, which is pretty impressive for a 31-year-old slot receiver, undersized guy, 5'8", 174, who had never really put up those kind of stats before. But now he's coming into his age 32 season, and he recently come out and said, and this is a quote, "I'd rather take my chances with COVID and build up immunity, exercise, and do what I think is necessary to be a healthy individual. That is my choice based on my experiences and what I think is best. If I'm forced into retirement, so be it." That escalated quickly. I'm not going to get into whether or not it's smart or not to take the vaccine. I'm going to leave that up to you guys to make your own decision. But from a fantasy perspective, what happens if one of Josh Allen's favorite targets is gone next season, considering they already let go of one of his favorite targets this past offseason in John Brown? So who benefits if Cole Beasley is also absent from this offense for any period of time in 2021? Because while he might not be forced into retirement, because this is a very complicated situation, he could be forced to take a few games off and reevaluate his decisions. So without further ado, let's dig into who seeks to benefit most from this news. Now, Stefon Diggs' role is pretty solidified. He's the number one on this offense. That role is not changing. He was already a target leader last season, and he looks to be a target leader again this season. I don't think his workload is really in question at all, even if Cole Beasley were to miss time. Now, they did bring in Emmanuel Sanders last season, who's fresh off catching 61 passes for 726 yards and 5 touchdowns from New Orleans quarterbacks in 2020. Prior to that, he had back-to-back 860-yard seasons where he never finished with less than 4 touchdowns. He's now going into his age 34 season. He's already passed the drop-off point for wide receivers. So this is a little bit of an uncharted territory. Now, Emmanuel Sanders was never an elite option. He had 3 seasons of back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons from 2014 to 2016 with Denver when he was playing with Peyton Manning. But in the 8 seasons in which he wasn't playing with arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, he never finished better than the 869 and 5 touchdown mark from his 2019 season. Now, last season, he was a starter for the Saints, yet he was still only able to generate 700 yards and 5 touchdowns as a starter. Now, the Bills are a much higher octane offense, and if he were to see a starting role in this offense, in that John Brown role, I believe his ceiling would be flirting with John Brown's production from 2019, in which he was the wide receiver 19 on the back of an average of 9.9 fantasy points per week. I think those numbers are realistic for Emmanuel Sanders if Cole Beasley is not available for this team in 2021. But the biggest beneficiary I have yet to name, and his name is Gabriel Davis. He was a 4th round pick in 2020, and let's be real, expectations for this guy, they were not very high. He was not a burner, 4.54 40-yard dash time, but he had good size, 6'2", 216. He played at a UCF, University of Central Florida, and there was a reason why he was drafted in the 4th round and not higher. But last season, when John Brown went down due to injury, somebody needed to step up in this offense, and Gabriel Davis did exactly that. He had 599 yards on 35 receptions and ended the year with 7 touchdowns, which is pretty impressive. It's a pretty great touchdown rate. His catch percentage left a little bit to be desired, as he finished last season at a 56.5 catch percentage rate. But if he's asked to step up in this offense and take on a wide receiver 2 role in a Josh Allen-led offense, Gabriel Davis could be in line for a huge year. He profiles as a outside receiver, like Like I said, 6'2", 216. Great yards per route last season at 17.1. The Bills were in the top half of the league in pass attempts, and conversely in the bottom half of the league in rush attempts. They ranked second in overall team offense and points scored. And to speak a little bit on the quarterback, he was fourth in the league in air yards per game, and he was top 10 in deep ball completion percentage, which correlates well with Gabriel Davis's average target distance, which was 15.1. Now, Davis was already set to improve on his wide receiver 54 finish from last season because of John Brown's vacated role. We already saw last year that when Josh Allen needed tough yardage and needed a wide receiver to make a tough catch, Davis stepped up to the plate. Now, he had 62 targets last season. Cole Beasley had 107 targets last season, and John Brown had 52 targets in the 8 games that he played starting for the Bills last season. Now, all told, all the targets put together from Gabriel Davis, John Brown, and Cole Beasley last season amounted to 221 targets. Now, if Cole Beasley is out of the picture and John Brown's target share gets split up between Emmanuel Sanders and Gabe Davis, but Gabe Davis continues to carve out his own role, Gabe Davis could be looking at somewhere in the 115 target mark, which would put him around which is slightly more than what Cole Beasley himself got last season, which is right on par with the target share that Brandon Cooks got last season, that DJ Moore got last season, that Marvin Jones got last season, that Jerry Jeudy got last season, and that CeeDee Lamb got last season. All those guys were in the 119 to 111 target range, which I believe is very, very attainable for Gabe Davis if Cole Beasley is really serious about these retirement comments that he's making with regards to being advocated to take the vaccine as an NFL player. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that Cole Beasley is just saying this all for lip service? Do you think he's really gonna take a stand on this topic? And if he does, where do you rank Gabe Davis? Do you think he's an upside wide receiver 3? Do you think he could make his way into the low end wide receiver 2 conversation like I do? Put your thoughts in the comments section below. My name is John Alsace. This has been the Face Mask Podcast. Thank you for listening.